Hello, everyone. It's a late night live stream tonight. I looked at the clock. I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't done a live stream for today. And I actually had a topic to talk about. So today I was thinking of a couple of things that I was personally just reconciling, struggling with. It's funny because as a mindset coach for creatives, I also deal with my own mindset work. And actually, I was watching another mindset coach, another business mindset type of coach, and everything he was saying was amazing. Great, amazing speaker. And I was like, okay, I'm getting behind this, I'm feeling this. And every time I come across a new bit of mindset research or guru coach, I try to convert it. Like, how would this be applicable to creative entrepreneurs? And same with this guy. And he didn't once mention anything about creative entrepreneurs one bit. And I just started thinking most of the mindset coaches, online business coaches, entrepreneur coach, all these wonderful people, they never target or talk about creative entrepreneurs. They're really focusing on people that are doing what we consider more traditional businesses, consultants and coaching and selling something very specific. And I started thinking about that today because when it comes to mindset, if you break down the principles of it and the building blocks, it doesn't matter what you're selling. It doesn't matter what the thing is that you're doing, honestly. And yet, so many creative people either don't get on board with this type of work or they don't feel included in this type of work and they ignore it altogether. And I started thinking about that, like, because I'm like, well, that seems weird. Like, why is that? And I went back into my own story and my own life. Like, why didn't I think of it in those terms back in the day? Like, why didn't I ever really get involved in small business market? And I wanted to have a business, and I kept having this longing to have my own financial confidence and my own financial freedom and to have my own business, but also to be creative and to have that part of me. But I always thought of them as two very separate ideas. And I was like, well, why is that? And I came up with, because for most, I'm not going to say all, because some of you are very lucky, but for most people, all the messaging you got, everything you heard from your family of origin, from the people you were raised with, from messages we get from media, just everywhere, just the stories and paradigms that we've created, everywhere you go, all you hear is having a career in creative business is a lost cause, that you're never going to make it, it's impossible, that you are wasting your life, that maybe you're not so serious about what you want to do, that creative people are kind of stupid when it comes to business, that they're incapable, oh, the competition is so difficult, you'll never make it, and you really need a plan B. Like, everything is about how you're gonna fail. In fact, I remember back in college, and I was in a major, like my undergraduate degree is in theater, and I got there from changing my major to a safe, I quote safe, I mean, I was going to go into a medical profession, so it was pretty safe, but now that I'm older, I see that it's also very challenging. But I switched to theater arts, and I remember a teacher just outright told us, don't go to California, don't go to a major market, don't bother, because they don't want you. They don't want you, you're going to fail. That was like, he had a whole course of study telling us how you're going to fail. You're not going to make it. Like, none of you are going to make it. So thanks for the money, but, find some other way to do it. If there's anything else you can do that other thing, because this is a lost cause. And I took that to heart because I dropped papers. I took that to heart back then because I'm like, I am looking at entering into the workforce, and I want to be successful. I want to make a lot of money. I want to be able to support myself and have a family and marry and find someone else successful. Like, I want all these wonderful things. I'm like, okay, if this guy's telling me I'm not going to make it, and then I moved to New York, and my first audition, everybody looked exactly like me. I was like, wow, he was right. I quit. And just like that, I was like, okay, enough of this. With the mindset I have now, I wish I could go back in time and talk to her and say, like, there's more to it than what they were saying. And yeah, it is super competitive and it's ridiculous. But why is it that these industries, people don't consider to be real work? People don't consider people in creative fields to be laborers. They don't consider it real work. And they skip over them altogether when it comes to the mindset and encouragement and the focus and to stay the course. Like, no one ever says that. The people who are successful figure it out along the way, but in the beginning, people are like, nah, don't bother. Don't waste your time. You're gonna fail. And if you hear that enough, you believe it. Like, starving artist. I'm gonna starve. I'm never gonna make it. I'm gonna fail. And I was like, I don't want to starve. I love food. I love to eat. I love to drink. I love these basics of life. I don't want to do that. So I quit. And I came back to it. I quit. I came back to it. Back and forth. Because it is what I do. It is what I'm good at. And yet, I was finding myself in industries that I was not good at, nor super passionate about, or maybe mildly good at. Because I don't want to downplay the work I did in corporate. And I was like, I was pretty good at the things I did. Was I as good as that as I am being an artist? Gosh, no. I put in way more hours and time and education and training for one and not the other. So of course I was nowhere near as proficient. And yet, I had the mindset of, you can't do this thing because you will never be successful. I'm like, where does that come from? And I realized it comes from everywhere. It comes from all over the place. So I just want to challenge people, like, really look at your mindset in terms of, what do you believe? What do you actually believe about your abilities to be successful? However you define success. If you define success as making a lot of money, if you define success as being able to pay your bills day in, day out, like, how do you define success? Being able to leave a legacy to your family, being able to have a family, being able to be flexible in your time and go back and forth. However you define success, why is it that we don't offer that same work and mindset to creative entrepreneurs, but to every other entrepreneur? Like, oh yeah, you could do this. You can do this. I'm there for you. Because think about it. The conventional wisdom is like, oh, because there's so many people want to do it. So many people, and there's just not enough roles for everyone. So not everyone is going to be a billionaire. Well, not everyone wants to be a billionaire, first of all. I mean, first of all, some people only want to do that. So the people that want to be billionaires, okay, they know what they have to do. But also think about it. Think about every other career. If you look at, like, online business coaches, let's just start there, because I'm doing this work on social media and online business coaches. Have you really looked at how many online business coaches / gurus / consultants there are? Hundreds. Take a look at your feed at any given moment, and you're gonna see sponsorships and sponsorships. Depending on what your search feed is getting, what the algorithm is getting you, you're gonna get so many sponsored ads for people that sell the same thing over and over and over again. But instead, they'll go and find courses of people encouraging them that they can do it and to focus and to keep at it. They'll get lots of business books and encouragement. But you don't see that same thing for creative businesses. For creative businesses, you get like, oh, competition, so fierce. Well, guess what? Like, there's a bunch, thousands and thousands of people on Etsy selling their stuff, selling crafts. There are thousands of people in the world, in this country, in the world, selling crafts, and yet there seems to be room for a lot of them. There seems to be a lot of room. There's not a shortage of people that want to buy crafts. There's not a shortage of people that want to make crafts. And yeah, it's not as though there's only like 10 people that make crafts. They're everywhere, and they're selling them. They're selling them to community, they're selling to friends, and they're making a fine living, and they're perfectly happy. So with the way that technology is spreading things out, I just can't subscribe to that anymore, being on this side of that part of my career. That if it's about competition, there's a lot of competition out there. If it's about, oh, so many people think that they could just walk in and be an XYZ artist, well, you could say that about any industry. Any industry, people can just walk in, except for ones that are like doctors and lawyers. But I mean, I know plenty of people that didn't have nearly as much experience but thought they were going to be just the best thing. But yeah, everyone starts as a novice at some point, and how much time and effort are you putting into it? So that's every career. But yeah, the more you break it down, it's just, you start to see it like, wow, why don't I believe that this is possible? And so I challenge you to really look at your actual mindset, not just watching me and wanting to be motivated and like, yes, I could do it. Yes, I could do it. Because the bottom line is, if you are watching all my videos, watching other people, looking at everyone else's career, and still not feeling that you're going to make it, still not feeling that you're quite at the par, and you keep looking for the answer, you keep looking for someone to tell the answer is you don't believe you can do it. There's a part of you that just doesn't believe it's possible. And you're going to keep spinning your wheels until you have the courage to face that part of you and start to heal it and confront it. Now, it's no fun to face that part of you, because then you have to come to terms with either, you know, the lies that you're holding on because you feel comfortable with it, or you have to confront and stand up to the bully of the negative self-talk and the inner critic that you have that was installed years and years before. But if you find yourself, even if you are having and enjoying levels of success, you're getting hired for whatever it is that you want to do, and you're getting paid for it, and yet you still don't feel that you're making it and you're doing it, you have to ask yourself, well, what are you looking for? Like, what's the search for? Because it's not about a bunch of gurus, it's not about a bunch of coaches, it's not that someone's going to give you like the secret magical one thing that you have to do. It's not your business strategy. It's not that. Those are all part of your success, but ultimately, if you don't believe it, if you don't have the mindset that it's even within your reach and it's even something that you can do, you're never going to make it. So I hope that perhaps I'm the first person to be, because I don't know any other mindset for creative coaches. They embed it somewhere in there, but that's my primary thing. Like, let's talk about your mindset, because without it, nothing's going to come to fruition. And I mean, for myself, I thought about tonight because there were a couple of things that happened tonight, situations that have happened before. I'm like, wait a minute, around money and around personal relationship type of things too. And I stopped, because I've been doing this for long enough that any time I get into a rut or I see the same pattern happening, now I stop and say, what's going on here? Because this happened last month, or I remember something very similar happened recently. So what's really going on here? Because you'll keep doing the same things over and over and over and over again until you learn the lesson and start to shift and change. So I asked myself, like, why? Why is this happening? Like, what am I doing? Like, what do I really believe about the situation? Usually I can pinpoint it, because when certain situations happen, my first, being dead honest here, because, you know, I'm also human. I teach it, I'm a master at it, but I'm also human. My first gut reaction when things aren't going the way I expected, or I'm finding myself in a loop of bad behavior, my first reaction is to throw my hands up in the air all dramatically and say, ugh, this always happens to me. Oh, it's never gonna work. And that's my cue of stop. stop. Okay, let's dissect that. Because if I'm saying it always happens and it's never going to work, I'm bringing that upon myself. Like, if that's what I really believe, to the point that when I get frustrated, I throw my hands up in the air, I'm like, this always happens. Okay, well then there is the clue of why it's happening, because I believe it's always going to happen. And then I can start from there. So if you find yourself over and over and over trying to figure out a way out, and you go to other successful people, and those successful people are talking to you about tactics, setting up your webpage, calling people, cold calling, setting up your store, redoing your website. And if they're talking about different tactics, but they're not touching your mindset in practical ways and really getting down to tools that you could use to heal, to confront, to understand, then you're going to keep searching. Because if you don't believe it, if your mindset is around that this is too hard, this is impossible, it's never going to happen, I've picked a stupid career, this is annoying, why couldn't I have been an accountant, why couldn't I pick a safe one, what's my plan B going to be, anything along that lines, then that's what you're going to get. Period. I mean, that's what you're going to get, because you're that's the energy you're putting out, whether you are aware of it or not. But I do think that most people are very much aware of it. They just don't want to deal with it because it's uncomfortable. Most of that inner dialogue was implanted when you were a kid, and it's uncomfortable to deal with because it's critical and it's shameful and it's fear-based and it's frustrating. So we don't want to confront it. We want to ignore it and try to pretend it's something else. But if you pretend it's something else, it's still there. And that's the results you're going to get. Like, that's where your vibration is, so that's what you're going to attract. So the way around it is confront it, notice it, release it, heal it, and then fill it with a better message. Fill it with what you actually do want. And you'll have a much better result. How do you do that? Well, that's why I have online courses for that. That's why I coach people for that. That's why there's information all over the place. Some of it is not specific to creative entrepreneurs. I wish it were. Maybe I don't wish it was, because then I wouldn't be doing this. Because somebody else would have that market. So if you really want to get down to how do I do that, like, this sounds great, Iesha. Like, I see that you're happy and you're doing it and you're making it happen. Because I went from not doing the thing I wanted to do for years. Oh gosh, for years and years and years and years and years, I wanted to be a creative entrepreneur, and I wasn't. It was always something that I was like, one day, but deep down, I just didn't think it was possible. I was like, I'm never gonna be able to do it. I have to make so much money in my day job first, then maybe I can start to consider XYZ. Or, gosh, I really, really want to be a creative entrepreneur, but you know what? Before I do that, I first have to find the perfect partner. First, I have to find the perfect partner who's going to be my coach and my cheerleader and encourage me. So then if I fail, they can support me through it and we'll still be a good unit. But these are excuses. These are excuses. You don't need any of that. As much as I want a supportive, loving partner for different reasons, but my being a creative entrepreneur doesn't depend on them, because that's codependency. My being a creative entrepreneur, I mean, it doesn't make sense to say I can only make money and be successful once I have money and am successful, and then I'll be able to go out and make money and be successful. And that was one of the gurus I said that was really the business coach video I was showing. It really made me laugh. He said, look, if you can't make money when you have no money, you're not going to be able to make money when you do have money. And I'm like, that makes sense to me. Because if you are waiting to make a lot of money to make money, then you're probably going to be waiting a long time, because you don't have money, and then you can use that as an excuse. Because in the history of the world, there are people that have less than you have in terms of resources and are still finding a way to be successful creative entrepreneurs. How are they doing it? I mean, ask yourself, how are they doing it? And plus, if you're a creative entrepreneur, you have the benefit of always having unlimited creativity. Like, if things change, you can fly with it. Like, you can roll with any changes in the market because you're creative. You're a creative entrepreneur. You just create something different. And so this idea that creative entrepreneurs cannot make money, it blows my mind. The more I think about it, when I was younger, it made sense, but as I get older, it blows my mind. So if you're thinking that you cannot be a successful creative entrepreneur, and when I mean creative entrepreneur, anything dealing with creative services, actor, artist, writer, musician, graphic designer, cartoon, whatever it is that you do in your creative realm, you can be successful at it. You can make money off of it. Why not? Like, why do we look at those types of fields and say, oh gosh, no, that's a waste of time? And yeah, we'll look at online media influencers. Hello, how are you? Oh, we need to catch up. I miss you, Barry. But we look at online social media influencers, like people that are making a lot of money on social media. That's a career that didn't even exist 20, 30 years ago. And how do you even explain it? There's not a shortage of social media influencers that are getting contracts and branding and making a living doing whatever it is that they do on social media. And yet, they don't sit there and say, like, well, let me not get into this because the market is too saturated. What? That doesn't make it... You don't see car companies not a good example because there's a very high cost to break in. But there's a lot of different types of cars out there. But the car companies aren't like, no, let me not do this because there's more than two type of brands of car. But why? Why do we look at creative careers, creative entrepreneurs, and say you will never be successful because there's too much competition? Yeah, there's a lot of competition, but there's also a lot of different avenues. Like, have you seen, because of our technology and our need to digest entertainment and information and how we can tell stories very quickly in video and in different media form, how many more opportunities there are for creative professionals? It's grown bigger and better, not to mention you will have a wider reach and a wider ability to reach whoever you need to versus back in the day where you had to create your materials manually and mail them and ship them. Now you just get on live stream, send an email, make a phone call. I don't know a lot of creative entrepreneurs that aren't putting in the time to excel and to educate themselves and to train, because you love being a creative entrepreneur. So that's the fun part that you want to do all the time. So that's not the issue. The issue is we just don't believe that we can do it because everything around us tells us that, oh, you better not, you better have a plan B. But, if you set out to be a marketer or work in marketing, oh, well, that's a really solid career. What? There are so many people working in marketing. Like, why do we not even waggle an eyebrow at that? But if someone says, I'm going to be a creative entrepreneur, oh, well, you better have a plan B. Or you could tell them, like, okay, here's what you need to do to make it happen. So I would challenge everyone to start with that. Start with, what are the messaging that you receive that you don't believe that it's possible to make a career and carve out a living? What are the things you're telling yourself to saying that you cannot have the success that you want as a creative entrepreneur? Because there's plenty around you telling you that you can't. And you've embedded that you cannot have it. I know for me, like that was the number one reason. Like I never believed that it was even within my grasp to have a creative career. Like, looking back, even going back as far as high school, I had friends that were in like a specialized theater program, and I did plays, it never occurred to me to apply to that specialized theater program. Never occurred to me. Because why would I? And it never occurred to me to even major in that. Why would it? Because that's just something fun, and you can't make a living at that, and you need to come up with something safe. And so I see so many creative professionals that are far superior at doing the creative business than they would be at anything else that they set their mind to in the world. And yet they're trying to force themselves into those realms because those are safe. And then they're frustrated. Or you could do the thing that you meant to do. Now, if you're not meant to do that, that's different. Then okay, do something else. But I challenge people, if the reason is that no one ever told you, or you just deep down don't believe it's possible that you can be successful at a creative type of business, well, then you never will be. So start with your mindset first. Start with the idea that, wait a minute, maybe I can do this. Maybe this is possible. And then start to embrace all the business background and entrepreneur information. But right off the bat, you have to believe that it's in your reach. And that's something you can do. So I don't know why we consider creative entrepreneurs not laborers, like not people that make a living. And that's weird to me. It's just so weird. If you look at any other type of business, just because it's creative, and maybe it's because like people do it for fun. Well, I mean, everybody should be enjoying their work, shouldn't they? I mean, in the perfect society, everyone enjoys their work. And trust me, not everyone would enjoy being a creative entrepreneur. I like to think so because I am one, but I know plenty of people that would hate doing what I do. Like, even me being on this live stream right now, I know there are plenty of people that would hate this so much. I know plenty of people that if I gave them a microphone and be like, I need you to read this copy with feeling, they'd be like, the hell you say, and get away from me with that. I mean, I know plenty of people like that. Just like it makes my skin crawl to think about being an accountant. I value accountants. Highly value an accounting professional. That's just not my jam, honestly. So wouldn't it be wonderful if people did what they enjoyed doing and that they excelled at doing and they enjoyed getting better at it? To be at the top of their field. Like, that would be in a wonderful place. So yeah, start with your mindset. And that's why I do what I do. So also making sure that if you want to get down to the nitty gritty to talk about like how do you free that creative mindset idea? Like what are the steps that I personally take and I coach other people to take? That is what my online course is for. So I'm going to put the link down below. It is on my online teachable school for a low cost, because I want this to be something that everyone can start doing. I want to see people win. I think it's very important when you're starting off in something that's new that you start to experience small wins in as many ways that you can, because then you'll be encouraged to keep moving forward. So while I want you to get my big fatty $600 course, it's so important for me that other creative professionals find their bliss and do what they're supposed to do, because we really now is a time in the world where we really need creative people to be successful and to start to shift things and tell stories and to help people see different angles and to help them reach their empathy and to present, like, it's a vital importance right now in our society that we get more and more people out there doing what they do in terms of a creative ability. So I want to make sure that you're getting out there and you're getting those wins and you start to see, oh, I can actually do this on a bigger scale. Even if it's just, I shouldn't say just, like, even if you make jewelry. I have a friend who makes amazing, gorgeous jewelry, and she makes them with these beautiful stones, and they're healing. Like, when people wear it, they feel amazing, they feel good, and even that changes people's ideas of how they can feel just walking around and present themselves differently. So creative entrepreneurs, you help change the world. You are helping to shift the collective mindset as well as your own. So please, that's why I need you to do this. I want to see your work. I'm selfish. I want to see your stuff. I want to see what amazingness you come up with. So that is why I offer free stuff, and I offer low cost point products as well as big, amazing, huge, mega 12-week long projects as well. So I'm gonna put the link below so you can click and get your goodies and get out there and start today. Start attracting clients, start accepting and being glad and being happy and knowing that this is a job and you can do this. It is a joyful job. It is a fun job, but like any other job, some days it's fun, some days it's not, but it is something that you do. Creative businesses are businesses, okay? If you're a creative entrepreneur, you are the CEO and creator of your own business, and you can make a very fine living and be successful at doing it. But first you have to believe that, because if you're constantly going through it and believing that like this is just something small, this is a side business, I can't do this, and this is just a plan B, and fine, you will get out of it what you put into it. If it's a side hustle, fabulous, make it a side hustle. If it's something that you're like, well, you know, I don't want to put in the work, there's no way I can make this a career, okay, then you won't. So start to shift your mindset if that is what you want to do. But you have to make that commitment to shift your mindset. And let me warn you, once you do start shifting your mindset, everything transforms. And I laugh because that sounds blissful, but transformation can be difficult because you have to let go of your old paradigm. When you transform, you can't hold on to your old story. Sorry, not sorry, but you can't hold on to your old story when you start to transform and shift. You just can't. And sometimes that's the hardest part to let go, because that story that you held on to was so much a part of who you are and who you've become. So to let go of that, you have to you have to ask yourself, like, okay, well, who am I now? If I'm not going to hold on to the story that I can't have it, if I'm not going to hold on to the story that, oh, well, I'm forced to do this because I'm blaming everyone in the world around me, if you have to let go of that, what are you going to replace it with? But as someone who has gone through that process and is now on the other side of it, it's so worth it. It's so worth it. At the time, you think that everything's falling apart. But if you know what's happening, it's not nearly as scary. If someone had told me at the time, like, oh, by the way, all this nonsense you're going through, like feeling that the rug's pulled out from under you and your whole world is shattering, like, this is the transformation part. This is the part where you upend everything and then put it back together, and it's like 10,000 times better. I didn't know that at the time, and most of the time you don't know, but so I'm here to tell you that's what it is. It reminds me of when you're cleaning a house, and I hate cleaning. I'm not gonna lie, I hate cleaning. I know it's good for me, and I know it creates order, which I do like order, but I just hate to do it. But when you're cleaning, the best thing you do is take everything out, and comes a certain point when you take everything out and it's all laying in front of you, and it is chaos. Everything is messy and everything's dusty and everything's all over the place, and that is just part of the deep cleaning process. And then you clean it, you shine it, and you put everything back together, and it's like so much cleaner and more organized than it was before. But there's a small snippet of time where it is a hot mess. So that's what transformation is like. But that's why I'm warning you, once you start to shift your mindset, you're gonna go through a transformation. It feels uncomfortable at first, but oh man, it's so worth it. It's so worth it to get to the other side. Consider, if you're watching all this, then something in your life isn't quite working. So perhaps it's time to transform, to get to the next level and to get to the next step, because otherwise you wouldn't even be looking at my videos. Not that I'm not adorable and fun and all that fun stuff, but you'd be watching a movie and going to bed and and just drowning yourself in something else. So, just saying. All right. That was my piece for today. I'm going to put the information down below in the comments. I think it's in the description, too, of the video. So definitely do it today. Do it today. My online courses are always available. There's free ones. There's ones for pay. They're all over the place. But yeah, it just remember, there is a strong mindset. Even if you want it, you have to dig deep and look at what is the story that you're actually telling yourself about how you can't have success. And I know every creative entrepreneur goes through this. Very rarely do I meet someone who is like, oh no, from the beginning, everyone told me I was going to be a successful creative entrepreneur. Yeah, that's not typical, but you can do it. There are people that make a living as creative entrepreneurs. Why can't you? It is something that can be done. All right. Mwah. Love you all. Mean it. I'm finally going to bed. It's been a long day. You see, I'm still wearing like my chilled out Vegas shirt. One of my favorite t-shirts. Because I love Vegas. I do love Vegas. I'm ridiculous. I love it so much. All right, my dears. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And I'll be back tomorrow with some more live streams. Like, as usual, if you have any topics that you would like me to cover or questions, shoot me a DM or put it in the comments, and I will cover it, and I'll make it happen. In the meantime, I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.